During the First Crusade, the armies of the Church captured the Holy City. Under the most holy of temples, the Knights Templar discovered secret vaults, and within them an ancient demonic artifact. The Templars, blinded by greed and with weakness in their hearts, fell to their knees. They had found a new lord. For 8 centuries, the Church has waged its crusade to take back the Holy City. The landscape has been utterly devastated, crisscrossed with thousands of miles of mud, trenches, and craters. The crusade is now waged with armies wielding terrifying weaponry, and both sides conjure up supernatural beings of such immense power they are nigh unstoppable. Even with some such incalculable might, the armies are at a stalemate. This is the Trench Crusade. Hello, and welcome back to the Wisdom Warhammer channel, and in today's video, I will be talking about what Trench Crusade is and some basic lore. Side note, the lore is very disturbing, so listener discretion is advised, and I don't own the artwork in the video. So, with the intro out of the way, let's get the video started, shall we? The timeline starts in the year of 1099 during the First Crusade and during the Siege of Jerusalem. A group of Templars find a very ancient artifact that whispers to them. Due to the voices of promises to them, the Templars gave into temptations and committed the act of ultimate heresy, which opened the gates of hell and summoned the legions of hell, which destroyed Jerusalem. In the year 1101, 3 major battles happened between the Church and the Heretics, which were supported by the legions of the Third Circle of Hell that conquered most of the Levant. Between 1101 and 1110, the city of Antioch was fortified and became the only thing between the legions of Hell and the rest of Europe. Also, between these times, Kobor became the first tyrant of the 6-6, who is probably a heretic or a demon. Then in the south of Jerusalem, the Muslims of the Great Sultanate created the Iron Wall of the 2 horns that pierce the sky. Also, the Great Wall of Iskandir reemerges, and from this the Muslims fight off the heretics. Between the years of 1110 and 1429, these events happened. The 17 legendary martyrs went to the corrupted lands to bring the heretics back to the light of God, but they were captured and tortured and have been kept in the white brazen bulls ever since. An assault on the mountain fortress called Alamut was defended by the old man and his Hasashin, but has been under attack all the way up to the current time. In the year 1215, the Church had a small civil war due to the different beliefs, and due to this, the heretics took advantage and gained more ground as the faithful killed each other. In the years of 1346 and 1353, the demon lord of hell, Beelzebub, unleashed the Black Rail, which infected tens of millions of people who died, and in 1553, the Corpse Wars began. The 1418, the Sultan Bayezid III commissioned the living artillery weapon, the Brazen Bull. In 1429, the living saint Jean d'Arc killed the Grail hegemon Yersinia Rex, which pushed back the heretics from Europe. In 1545, the city of Antioch was destroyed by an unknown infernal weapon, and in the year 1559, the Sword Congress of Vienna vowed to rebuild Antioch and asked for a yearly tithe from Christendom. Sometime after that, the Sacred Order of the Dragon of Wallachia destroyed the heretic advance after the destruction of Byzantium and impaled 1 million heretics on the hills overlooking the kingdom. In 1595, the massive walls of Antioch were built, and in 1666, heretics captured the city port of Gibraltar, which gave them access to the Atlantic Ocean and conducted raids on Church land. In 1670, the King of England ordered the creation of the Fortress of the White Cliffs, and in 1805, the heretic fleet led by High Captain Ragna destroyed the English fleet at the Battle of the Red Cliffs and killed Admiral Nelson. In 1866 and 1870, the first heretic submarines were created, and a fleet was launched from Gibraltar, which destroyed a lot of the merchant navy, causing widespread famine. In 1872 through 1899, the heretics captured the ancient city of Rijeka, which gave them access to mainland Europe. Then, in 1894, the 3 death commandos, Cain, Barabbas, and Haman, assassinated the Holy Roman Emperor, High Prophetess Elia, and the Supreme Pontiff, at the same time causing disarray in the Church forces, while a massive force of heretics attack. Then, in 1899, the Church space program begins, which is a mystery, but wonder what it is. Now, in the 1800s, the construction of the moving fortress of Britannia was finished in 1907, and in 1910, the Battle of Corban was a bloody stalemate which holds back the Heretic legions from the heart of Hispania. And in 1910, Melchior Giselle of New Antioch published the official and true annals of church history. Now we are at the present year of Trench Crusade and the year of the Lord of 1914, where the church and heretic legions are both at a stalemate as they are plotting major offenses against each other. But in no man's land, raids and skirmishes happen between the forces of hell and the church, which intensifies every day as they search for information and artifacts to give them an advantage. I assume the Sultan is doing the same thing, and they have a very rocky relationship with the church. But when they need to work together, they find a way to work together. Now I will be going over the major players in Trench Crusade, and starting off with the church and some of their forces. The church is the exact same one in our world, but extremely fanatical, who show no mercy to heretics. They have a very rocky relationship with other religions, like Islam and the Rangers of the Year, which is the Irish who are Catholic, but the Rangers seem like their pagan ancestors. Their main defense is the fortress city of Antioch, which constantly produces holy weapons and ammo to assist them in the fight against the heretics and the beings of hell. The first unit that they have is the Yaman, which are standard soldiers, even though they don't have the abilities of the elite church forces, but they have a wide variety of weapons that they use, but they mostly use the bolt-action rifle. The next unit is the shock troops, which are the assault troops of the church using rapid assault tactics to kill their opponents by charging trenches and wearing heavier armory to help with defense. After these troopers, we have the combat engineers, whose job is so dangerous that the casualty rate is high, but they are respected highly. These guys destroy bunkers, minefields, and build battlements, and have the heaviest army that a person can carry, which can stop a bullet and even a rifle round. Now going into the elite forces of New Antioch, they are called the Mechanized Infantry, who are chemically enhanced and are considered the best and carry the heavy weapons. The last of the basic of the church forces, which is the combat medics, and these Sisters of St. Cosmas, are trained to treat battlefield wounds, but they follow a modified version of the Hippocratical Oath. These sisters are as skilled in killing people as well as healing people. Going into the officer class of New Antioch, we have the lieutenants, who are the leaders of the frontline soldiers in the trenches. They are responsible for making sure their men are supplied and are a morale boost. The next group after them is the trench cleric, which is the spiritual defender of a unit who shouts hymns of faith and can heal and create miracles. After them are the sniper priests, who are blind and use faith to guide their bullets, which makes them somehow effective. Now, moving on to the next major player, we have the Iron Sultanate, who are made up of the Islamic faith, who man the Iron Wall. Some of their basic forces are made up of normal people, who are called the Azeb, which means unmarried, and these men are the basic infantry who fight on land and sea against the heretics. The weapons of the Azeb are a wide variety, but they are not on the level of the elite weapons of the households of the Sultan. These guys are used to hard press the enemy, while the heavy or elite troops of the Sultan go in for the kill. But the life of the Azebs is very hard due to the battles against the forces of Shaitan, and many die horrible deaths, and those who survive come back with broken bodies and destroyed minds. But there are more Azeb recruits lining up there in glory and gold, repeating the cycle, but it is necessary to keep the Iron Wall secured. Going into the next unit, and it is the Sultanate Sapper, who is the exact copy of the combat engineers of New Antioch. They tend to be covered in burns due to them working on and around the artillery of the Iron Sultanate, which overheats a lot. The next unit and the last unit I will talk about in the Iron Sultanate are the Janissaries, and they are the elite guards of the Sultan and are trained from childhood and given chemical enhancements. They are the shock troops and are dangerous in combat, but they are used rarely due to them being the personal guard of the Sultan and other high-ranking members of the Sultanate. Going into the final religious order in the Trench Crusade lore, and they are the Trench Pilgrims, which tend to be of the church, and think of them as warbands of random people who fight the heretics in no man's land. They tend to be disorganized and are led by people who have seen visions and heard an angel's voice, and make their way to the front lines, gathering people to their flocks. When they get to the front lines, the church clerics bless them, and these warbands are common throughout no man's land. Because the men and women have very little military training, they wear the iron capotuerti, which allows them to face the worst demons and not fear them. The main leaders are the war prophets, and these leaders wear armor that have speakers on their armor and allows them to spread the words of faith, mostly words of fear and salvation. One of the main units is the Shrine Anchorites, which is a suit of armor that has a monk pilot with them experiencing extreme pain and can't leave until they die. Now, There are some other units, but I will go over them in another video, but now I will be going over the Heretic and Demonic Legions. Starting off with the Heretic Legions, and these are the humans that gave their souls to the Lords of Hell and have been given Hell-forged weapons and armor to wreak havoc on the forces of the faithful. To become one of the Heretic Legionaries, you must have a dark soul and walk to the gates of Hell and give your soul to the Lords of Hell, but this is not easy. When they are accepted into the legions, they are given the weapons and armor, and are brought forth to a Hell Priest to truly make them a fully fledged legionary and swear to the archdevils. Starting off with some basic units of the Heretic Legions, and of course we have the Heretic Legionary, which makes up the bulk of the Heretic Legions, and are given basic weapons and armor. The next unit is the Anointed Heavy Infantry, which are the heavily armored and heavy weapon assault troops, and are used to kill massive amounts of enemies, and they are identified by their burned and blistered skin. The next unit is the War Wolf, which is a werewolf that is from Hell and wears specially made armor, and their helmet has a chainsaw made from barbed wire in their mouth. They are used to destroy faithful trench defenses and kill anything in no man's land and send their souls to their infernal masters. Now the opposite of these beasts, we have the Artillery Witches, who seem mysterious and have the power to summon bombs of the third circle of Hell to destroy their enemies. The last of the worshippers of Hell we have are the Wretched, which is a terrible fate due to them being cannon fodder, and there are masses of them to pressure enemy forces, and they're given to archdevils for sacrifice. The next group is one of the Demon Legions, and they are the forces of Beelzebub, and they are called the Cult of the Black Grail. These demons are from the 7th layer of Hell and spread plagues and are responsible for the Corpse Wars and the Hegemon, and the worst weapon from them is the Black Grail, which created a massive amount of plagues that killed a lot of the faithful of Europe. The leaders of the warband of the Cult of the Black Grail are the Order of the Fly, which is a group of plague knights of the worst men and women who gave themselves to the Lord of Flies. Some of their units are the Heralds of Beelzebub, and they suffer one of the worst fates. They become bloated and are surrounded by hellflies and grow wings. After they go through this metamorphosis, they serve as the heralds and the scouts of the Lord of Flies. Moving up to the next one, we have the Algamons, who are massive beasts that have thousands of pounds of flesh and material that form, and then they rise up. When they rise up, they begin finding enemies of the Lord of Flies and destroy them, and they absorb anything in their way while they destroy them. Now, for most of the people who become unwilling servants of the nobles of the Black Grail, they are called the Grail Thralls. They mostly join the warbands of the Black Grail in the lands of No Man's Land, and those unlucky ones serve near the nobles of the Grail, suffering the worst plagues during their service, and must obey their new masters. Finishing up with the forces of the Black Grail, we have the Hounds of the Black Grail, who roam No Man's Land in search of foes and to spread the diseases and pestilence of Beelzebub. Now, finishing up with possibly the most powerful demon faction in Trent Crusade, we have the Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent. This court is led by the 7 deadly sins, but Beelzebub scorns his spot in the court, and from his seat being unfilled, the lesser fallen angels can take it. Some of the forces of the court are very powerful due to their masters and produce some of the most powerful and terrifying demons ever. Starting off with the Pit Locust, and this is a basic unit that has been in the conflict ever since the gates opened, and being the first to leave the gates of Hell in 1099. They are very similar to the Hounds of the Black Grail, but there are a few differences. They come in massive swarms. It says that they were just regular demons that did massive damage to the area of the Levant, slaughtering thousands of the faithful who refused to bend the knee to the Lords of Hell. Moving on to the next unit of the court, we have the Hunters of the Left-Hand Path, who are skilled in hunting the beasts of Hell and know the hinterlands of Hell itself. They can be called to war by a Lord of Hell, but sometimes they do not listen and live a life of solitude in the wilds of Hell. When they are on Earth in No Man's Land, they hunt the faithful by setting up ambushes and sit and wait in the shadows of where the veil between worlds is weak. They can capture targets to bring them back to Hell to a demon lord that requested their skills, so think of them as the bounty hunters of Hell, and while they bring them back to Hell, the hunters play with their prey to empower themselves. With the Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent having a wide variety of magic, the Auxilia sorcerers are the deadliest, only save for the archdevils, hell lords, and fallen angels. These mages study the magics of the court to learn the spells of destruction and corruption, and they hunt the tablets of Hell, which makes them more powerful, but this takes a long time. This is very rare though, because when they find a tablet, there are armies of demon scribes that translate the text, and this is the challenging part of the task. These beings are formed from the creation of a sliver of a fallen angel and are never truly alive or dead, and an archdevil can have thousands of these sorcerers under their command. The opposite of these mages, we have the yoke fiends, and these massive brutes are the mindless battering rams of the seven-headed court. Standing up to 7 feet tall and carrying a hell-forged mace imbues with demon magic, and when they are in hell, they are the wardens of the damned souls, making sure they are sent to the lake of fire. They also hate seeing their reflection and know that their life is a cruel one, but they are not intelligent at all, but they know they will never see beauty and glory for eternity. Now, hopefully soon we can get some more lore on the factions of the faithful and the damned, and it would be cool to see the sub-factions of hell. But that is the rundown of what Trench Crusade is, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And when there is new lore, I'll be talking about it. In the next Trench Crusade video, I'll be going over more detail of the church forces, but that will take some time. But the next video will be another Warhammer video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button and send it to someone who would like this content. And if you are new and would like to see more, hit the subscribe button and bell notification to be notified for when a new video comes out. I thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day. This is Wisdom of Warhammer, signing off.